Hello, this is the testing portion of the Manly scented coconut and olive oil soap. Yes, this is the one where I made so much soap it couldn't fit in the mold. Oopsies. And not surprisingly, the soap volcanoed, as often happens when you're using sandalwood and patchouli. But no biggie, the soap will be fine. That's actually part of the reason why I put the cover on it, is because when you put the cover on them and they volcano in there anyway, they end up setting up much better and they're fully usable and sellable soap. And one of the oopsies I made was accidentally having the top of the mold a little bit narrower than the bottom, so it was kind of hard to get the soap out. Which I did fix. I just fixed it off camera in between batches. I know the soap looks ugly, but don't panic. This can be fixed. There's just a couple extra steps involved. But right now we're going to go ahead and move the scrap aside and cut it into bars. I really like this cutter. It's very nice for cutting up small batches like this. However, when you're doing like a 140 bar batch, it is way too slow for that. And it's very adjustable, so I can make them as thick or as thin as I want. Unfortunately, the company that made this was a small machine shop, like local, and it actually they sold out and it kind of went out of business. But anyway, when the soap volcanoes, it's going to be very greasy like this. That's normal. Don't worry about it. Also, I have so much cocoa powder in this soap that it's just so crumbly in the scrap there. So it's really only good if you can mix it in. So what we're going to do is we're going to pat the grease off of this with some napkins. I know, kind of a messy job, but I have been told by a lot of new soapers that they've just thrown the soap away because of this, and that's not necessary. I mean, it's not ideal to have this happen, but this actually still happens occasionally down in the soap room with our very perfected recipe. Well, as perfected as it seems that it can be. And it's not really a big deal. So what I'm going to do now is, because I made my mold too small for this size batches, I'm going to weigh the scraps. Oh, and I forgot to show you the weight of the bar. The bar was 4.8 ounces. Basically, I hit pause when I walk away, and I forgot to hit record when I was weighing the bar. Having these numbers on hand helped me when I was reformulating to size down the rest of my test batches. So then we put the batch here in a food dehydrator, set it to about 100 degrees, which ends up being about 120 degrees inside there. It's kind of like an oven, not a perfect thermostat. So what this does is it helps the moisture come out of the bar, which basically just speeds up the curing process, because the majority of that 6 weeks of sitting around is simply just to dehydrate the bars. After 48 hours, the pH is within the optimal 7 to 10 range anyway. It's just a lot of moisture left in the bar, which leaves it bigger and it sweats over time. So a lot of folks like to let it sit around till it's, fully cured. So now that that's done, they've been in there for about a day and a half. And I've let them mostly cool off, but they're still kind of hot. So I'm just kind of rubbing off the excess grease, which you're going to get a sheen on it of grease because it volcanoed. The next batch that I've done, it didn't volcano, so you'll get to see what that looks like. I'm just going to set the scrap aside, and I'm going to put it in a bag, and when we go to the festival in October, I'm just going to sell it as scrap. I did keep the one end bar that's small so I can test the lather and whatnot. I gotta let these cool off a little bit more before we can do a good lather test. Okay, so now we're going to see how much weight they lost. It was 4.7, so they lost about an ounce of moisture per bar. Now for the thing that everybody seems to care about the most is lather. Because the basically scrubbing bubbles commercials seem to make us think that suds is what cleans, and it's actually not. But it is what it is. This has a lot more lather than the soap that we regularly sell. It has a lot bigger bars, not bars, a lot bigger bubbles. So I think in the future I'm going to do a couple of test batches where I change the quantity of goat milk in the recipe, because we don't mix it with water at all, which I'm actually told can really decrease the bubbles. So, now for the pH testing. It's kind of hard to tell on the video, I think because of the LED lights, but it did not look that dark a green in reality as it does on camera. It looked like it was an 8 or maybe a 9. So it's perfect. 3D printed soap stamps are awesome. However, the pores in the plastic is quite large, so the soap really sticks to it unless you use rubbing alcohol, also known as isopropyl alcohol. This makes it not stick like hardly at all if you use enough of it. I have a spray bottle down in the soap room, but like I said, no cross-contamination. It also has a dual effect of removing any soda ash, which is basically just a little white film it gets on it from oxidization as it sits out. Cosmetically, people don't know what the heck it is, so they're hesitant, but it's fine. But this removes it anyway. And now for the nerdy stats of the soap. Thanks for watching.